Welcome back to Peak Your Interest podcast. I am Tanner Greenwalt with the Greenwalt team here at First Home Mortgage, and I wanted to just kind of go over credit a little bit. Credit is what drives the whole process when you're looking to purchase a home. You know, we look at your credit score, we look at all the debts that are appearing on the credit report, and we kind of apply that to what if you were to buy a home and what that looks like kind of thing. Sometimes clients come to us and they need some type of credit repair or their credit isn't exactly where it needs to be. So, we try to work with them to get them to where they need to be. We offer them tips, explanations as to what they're seeing on the credit report, all that good stuff. So I just wanted to take a second to go over a couple things that are important to note on, your credit report if we're pulling it, showing it to you, going over it, all that good stuff. So one of the questions we get asked a lot is, what's the difference between a mortgage FICO score and a consumer FICO score? And honestly, the difference is they just have different scoring mechanisms behind them. So a mortgage FICO score is based off of kind of like an older scoring model, whereas a consumer FICO score is based off of a newer scoring model kind of thing. So if you have a mortgage FICO score, we are looking at more of like delinquencies that you see on credit reports, collections in a collection section, how long have they been there, what's the status of them kind of thing. Because, if a mortgage lender is lending to you, they want to make sure that you have a good rap sheet of having debts, paying them off, because, we can't lend to somebody that isn't doing their due diligence as far as like paying off debts go kind of thing. So that's kind of the difference between the two of those. That is literally the number one question we get asked all the time about credit. And then the credit score ranges. So, poor credit score, anything 600 and below, we consider that poor. So that would need some type of credit repair to be done. And that's something that, you'll get help from to figure out what you need to do to boost your score. A fair FICO score is anywhere from 650 to about 699. A pretty good, fairly decent FICO score is 700 to about 749, and then we consider excellent 750 and above kind of thing. So tips for improving your credit. So when we're looking at the credit report, we're literally going through it, and we're going through it section by section. So first we have your actual open credit and maybe even some closed credit that you have that's reporting. We go through that and we look at what needs to be done and fixed in that area. And then we go to the second part of the credit report, which is your collections. If you've got any type of like judgments out, bankruptcy, stuff like that, that's everything that we look at. So how do we fix those things? So paying down debt. If you have open credit cards, the biggest thing is to not max them out. The second biggest thing is to pay them on time. Actually, I'm going to switch that around. Pay them on time, but also don't max them out. Anything that is considered 30% over the high credit limit on each of the credit cards is considered to be a maxed out credit card. So I always tell clients, when Michelle and I are talking to them, we say, pay your card down to at least 30% if you can. Don't pay it off all the way, because for whatever reason, paying off your credit card full-blown does knock your points down a little bit. So we say, pay it down to like $15, $20, keep it low until we can get your score up kind of thing. And that usually helps increase people's credit scores. Consistency in your payments. So like I said prior to, late payments. It usually happens or pings your credit after your first 30-day late, and any late after that, it just continues to hit you with late payments. So late payments are something that we heavily look at, because we want to make sure, as a mortgage company, if we're lending to you, that you're able to pay off your mortgage just like you're able to pay off all the other debts you're seeing on your credit report kind of thing. Inquiries. So inquiries, it depends on the type of credit report pull that you get done on yourself. So there's hard credit report pulls, and then there's soft credit report pulls. If you're looking to get pre-qualified with our team, we do a soft credit report pull where it generates 2 scores for us, and we're able to kind of gear off of that until you do go under contract, and then that's when the hard credit pull comes. But if you just have people randomly, pulling your credit, that is considered hard credit pulls unless they tell you otherwise. And the hard inquiries usually take away 5 to 10 points depending on the creditor, what type of credit it is, all that good stuff. So we always tell people to just keep your inquiries low to non-existent if possible. If you absolutely have to have somebody check your score, it's understandable, but don't have a bunch of people check your score at once. All that does is it makes it kind of look like, you're desperate for credit from somewhere. You're desperate from help or financing from somewhere. It's not a good look. So keep your inquiries low if possible. And then your collections. So collections can be a little bit tricky almost because of the type of collection that's reporting. So usually if you have a debt and you aren't paying on it, it ends up going into some type of collection. You have an open collection account and you also have charge-off accounts. What's the difference? So charge-off accounts are basically the creditor saying, we've tried to get this debt paid off. They're not paying the debt off. We're going to put it in a charge-off status. We're going to stop going after these people to try to collect the debt, and this is the status it's in. They can send it to a third party and transform it into a collection if they wanted to, for them, creditor, whoever, to go after you for that past due amount, or they can leave it in charge-off status. Collections are open collections, so it's literally a past due amount that they're still trying to come after you for to get paid, satisfied, whatever. So those are the two differences between those two. Now, in order to get rid of the collections, usually you can call up the creditor that holds your account, and you can say, listen, I can pay it off in full. I can make some sort of settlement on it. Can we get it into a payment plan so I can pay it off? The goal is to try to figure out how to satisfy the debt. But then the second part to that is removing the debt in full. So you can always call up and say, hey, if I pay off this $500 credit card bill that I have a collection for in full today, would you guys be willing to remove it from the collection section for me? And they'll either agree or they won't agree to do that. If they do, that's huge in boosting your score, because getting a collection removed, obviously, you're wiping away some debt. You satisfied it, you're good. So collections definitely are something you want to look at if you have them open. The status of them, you want to know what the status is of them and how to kind of move forward with them. Collections are kind of a big thing. And then bankruptcies. So bankruptcies are treated a little bit differently. There's certain time frames that we have to look at if you have a bankruptcy that's reporting on your credit report. So I actually printed off a little sheet here that we sent to clients. We also sent to some of our realtor partners, and it's called the waiting period matrix. So basically it breaks down your loan type, whichever loan type you're looking to be involved in. And then depending on the type of bankruptcy you have, how long you have to wait in order to be able to purchase or look into purchasing. So just to give you an example, if you're looking to go FHA and you have a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you have to wait 2 years from your discharge date of the bankruptcy before we can even look into lending to you, kind of thing. There is a extenuating circumstance of 1 year. So if, somebody in the family got super ill and you had to deal with that, and that's why, you had yourself enrolled in a bankruptcy, okay, that might be an extenuating circumstance kind of thing. But this is just a good idea of, the time frames that you would have to wait if you do have a bankruptcy out there. Chapter 7, Chapter 13. This even goes into foreclosures, short sales. So there are time frames that you do have to wait if something like this happens to your credit and, you want to purchase a home, kind of thing. So the impact of credit on mortgage approval. So typically when you're being pre-approved, your credit's pulled. We look at your score. We look at all the debts like I had mentioned before. Your score is the driving force to which loan type you're going to be using. A lot of programs out there, they have specific guidelines, credit score limits, all that stuff that, we have to abide by as well. So I always tell people it just drives the whole entire loan process, when I'm talking to them about situations like this. It's super important to make sure your score is a good score. Things happen, life happens, we get it. But at the same time, if you want somebody to help you finance, the purchase of your home or refinance or whatever the case is, you've got to be creditworthy. So I always tell people, first things first, if you're ever looking to purchase on a home or anything like that, you got to make sure your credit's in good standing. So check on it on the back end on yourself. Ask, your mortgage lender to look into it for you, but know what your score is. A lot of people come to the table and they have no idea where they even stand with their score. So it's super important to know where you stand score-wise. So we do have a minimum here at First Home Mortgage, but I can't even really say what the minimum is because there are certain circumstances where we might be able to take less than that, kind of thing. It just depends on you as the client and what you bring to the table, kind of thing. So I hope this was a little bit helpful for anybody who is kind of iffy on where they stand with credit, or they're not sure exactly which direction to go. If they know that they have a couple things going on that I spoke about, our team here at First Home Mortgage, the Greenwalt team, we like to help clients get to the point of being able to purchase. And if it's going through your credit report with you to give you some tips, maybe some guidance on how to fix your credit up, we want to do that for you and be helpful in any way we possibly can. So if you do have any questions, please reach out to Michelle or I, and we would be glad to help you. Other than that, have a great day.